Good evening and welcome to Career Launch Live. I am your host, Catherine McCord. I have Audra Richardson with me here today, and I'm excited about that because she has the most calming, relaxing demeanor about her. And I feel like we all need that at the end of the day because everybody I've spoken to has had an absolutely bonkers day. And I'm going to let her just go ahead and do her own intro because I've decided that that's just the easiest way to do it. Let people introduce themselves. So we're going to go ahead and bring in Miss Audra. Oh, hold on. There she goes. How are you today? Oh, you're muted.
I'm good.
That's
How
all
are
right.
you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm so glad to have you. So
Thank
tell
you.
us, sure, absolutely. So first of all, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Audra Richardson. I'm a personal leadership educator. I help high performance women replace their boss hats with the crown. So I help them to love and lead like a queen in their personal life. It's one of the things that I do. And it's fun. I really enjoy helping the women consult them in their personal life.
Good. I love hearing that. So how did you get started in that kind of work?
So, so really, it's funny how it happened. I was just doing it when I started out. I was just doing it, just thought, hey, I'm being a good friend. But my husband is actually the person that recognized that it was a gift, right? To be able to really lead like a queen in your life. And I was always giving advice to women maybe that have been married longer than we have. And so it was just funny, I just thought a lot of things come natural,
Hmm.
and he was like, no, what you have is a gift. And so I went into it in helping women, first of all, starting with how to be productive in their personal life. And
Right.
then it kind of just
And I
transitioned.
want to pause on that. Whoa. We're going to pause on
Right.
that. How to be how to be productive in your personal life because that's something that I think a lot of people miss is actually part of your career success too, right? Can
Hmm.
you tell us a little about that?
Oh, you froze. I didn't hear the question.
Where'd you go? Oh, you froze. You froze. I don't know what's going on. No, you're okay. We're having
We both
technical
froze.
issues. That's okay. So we both just froze. So I was asking you, so a lot of people don't realize that professional organization and professional togetherness, or excuse me, personal togetherness have a very strong tie together. So can you tell us a little bit about how you help professional women in their personal lives and how that ties into helping them with their career?
So the first thing with helping them with ladies with their personal life is for them to understand and realize that we don't have to be superwoman. I know for a period of time, for many years, it was a cute saying to say, "Hey, I'm a superwoman, a Wonder Woman," and to do all the things. And we do a good job of doing that, right? Like we just like, hey, we got to get it done. We got to take care of ourselves. Got to take care of the kids and the spouse. But what I realized was going from being a single mother to being married, what I realized was you don't have to do it all, first of all. And to just really sit down with yourself and say, hey, I'm not going to do it all. These are the things that I'm good at. These are the things that my spouse, he may not be able to do it exactly how I do it, or the kids may not do it exactly how I do it, or the nanny, but they get the job done. And
Right.
so just releasing some things so that you can, be the woman that you need to be for yourself, first of all, and you
Mhm.
can show up even in your marriage. And so
Right.
as we have kids, they tend to take over your life, right? Not
Yes,
only
they
that,
do.
but when you have a business, right? That's just like a baby, birthing
It's
that business,
true. Because you are
right?
going to be
Even
up
your
all
career.
night, every night for the
Absolutely.
first year, for the first few months of that
Absolutely.
business. It's
Absolutely.
absolutely like that. And
Hmm.
I think that a lot of people miss that tie-in. And I love what you said about, that you can't do it all. And that's the hardest thing to learn as an entrepreneur because that is your baby. It's just like with a mama, right? A brand new mama. She's always like, it's my baby. I have to do everything. So I know how to do it
Hmm.
right. And
Yep.
it's not really like that. You have to learn to let go and to delegate or to let somebody else help you. And and that will strengthen any relationship that you have, whether it's with your partner in business or your partner in life, right? It's going to
Yeah.
strengthen that bond. to reach
Absolutely.
out to them for help.
Absolutely. Yeah, and
Yeah.
and it's just asking the women, how do you really want to show up in your home, right?
Hmm.
Yes, we know you're the wife. Yes, we know you're the mother, but really think about and have clarity around how do you want to show up? Because I just believe that when we show up being the best lady that we are and who we are truly are, that our world shows up for us. The
Yes.
things that we want our significant other to do for us, they begin to see that, hey, you know what, she likes this.
Yeah.
She's giving me what I want, and I'm giving her what she needs, and the kids are doing what they're supposed to do because we are in alignment. And I think we
Right.
have to be in alignment with ourselves first.
I completely and totally agree with you. And I like, and it's the same thing in business. It's, it's
Mhm.
everything ties in. That's why it's already, it all kind of fits in together. I get a
Yes.
lot of comments and questions about the fact that I work with my husband. My husband works
Hmm.
with slash for me. And he says for, I say with. It's, it's either or. But we we've always worked together. We've worked together many, many times in different capacities where he's been the leader or I've been the leader, or we've been equals. And it's no different than in a relationship where you're because those positions always change, right?
Always.
Whoever's leading, it just
Hmm.
depends on what the strength is and what the situation is. And it's the
Hmm.
same thing here. And I really love that you've decided just to work with women. And the reason for that is that I feel like with any group, you need mentors, right? And so it's wonderful as a woman to be able to find another female leader, right? To be able to find somebody that can kind of step up and kind of guide you, through everything that you're going through in your journey and kind of give you advice, and someone that has lived a life similar to what you're trying to live that you
Hmm.
can reach out to. So what do you see as being important about finding a mentor, as especially as a woman in business, but for really anybody in business? How do what significance do you place on that, and why?
So I do believe that as women, we should have a mentor in every area of our life. I have a mentor, for business. I have a mentor for my spiritual part of my life, like every area, because I believe that there's not fit all. And we should have someone that we can just go to and talk to, because there's no perfect marriage. Let's just be real. No matter how good it look on social media, we all have things that we have to do it right.
And we all know those people that try to make it look all perfect, and in real life, you're going,
It's
okay.
not. It's not right. It's work. It's work, in a marriage, even in our business, the same thing. And I'm like you, I work with my spouse, even in our business together. And what I really like that my husband, he decided to join me this year, in the program.
Nope. Well, we lost Audra for a moment. That is okay. Sometimes we have technical difficulties due to weather or any kind of thing like that. So I'm just going to kind of fill in the blanks here for a minute. So we have a um, as women, I think we have a very unique position where we can kind of give a different perspective because of our just kind of natural autonomy. We kind of have a different way of thinking, a different way of doing things, typically speaking, right? And so I really love, oh, here she comes. Here goes Audra. Let's get her back in here. There she goes. Oh, nope. There. Whoop. There she is.
We're just having all kind of technical difficulties, right? Just it's okay.
Well, just remember, I'm
Oh,
just going to
and
throw
you
this one out there real
froze.
quick. Just remember, if you have any, yeah, do you have any other windows open right now, or anybody else on
No,
the internet?
everything is
That could be it. Everything's off. Might be weather. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. I have
yeah.
no idea.
Who knows? Texas,
That's okay.
right? In a minute.
Technical, technical difficulties. These things happen. But I
Yes.
think so. As women, we kind of have a different perspective that we bring in all of that. And one thing that has been really interesting lately is with with all of the growth in the diversity, equity, and inclusion space, is that there's been a lot of talk about women in the workplace and all excuse me, all of the different benefits that are unique to women, and all of the different scenarios that are unique to women. And so one thing I want to address and I was actually just on another show talking about this very recently, Tara Piriani of Not the HR Lady. And it's the unique things that are said to women and mothers and expected of women and mothers that are not expected of the dads. So, one of the things that women get asked about a lot, and even though it's illegal in interviews, it still happens, and then it happens afterwards at the job in the job market, is what about your kids? How many kids do you have? Are you going to be calling it? Are you planning to have more kids? People dive into your reproduction when you're a woman at work. I I don't have kids, and I've literally had people look at me and go, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like,
Wow.
nothing. Or something. I mean, there's definitely something wrong with me, but but not because of that.
Ask anything.
Yeah, it's none of your business. It just fascinates me. So I wanted to kind of ask you, when your clients come to you, maybe they've had this kind of circumstance, or if someone were to come to you with this kind of circumstance, what would your advice to them be?
If there was to be asked that at their employment?
Yes, yeah, if somebody's focusing on their womanhood and their motherhood very specifically.
Oh, yeah. Well, if they were to be asked questions like that, of course, I would, if at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. I think that's a personal matter of, if you have kids, if you don't want them, we all choose to, have kids or don't. I have 6 kids. And so I've been asked questions like that before when I did work for others. And, it is a personal question, and it's a touchy subject, and you wonder why, why would I be asked that? And so I would just say, hey, just explain to the individual, hey, that's really just it's a really personal question. And
Yeah.
I'm going to show up and do my job, no matter what is going on in my personal life. And as women, we have to make sure that we separate the two, right? When we show up on our job, it's business, and when we show up at home, it's personal, right?
Right.
And so it's just separating the two.
And I think, it's stupid that we have to still tell people this in this day and age, but
Absolutely.
it is common. And actually, I want to point out that this is not just men doing this. Women ask these questions too, just as much as the guys do, at least in my experience. So I think it is important to remember that, excuse me, sorry. I think it is important to remember that people are just people, and you're never entitled to their personal business. You are never entitled to any trauma that happens to them. You're never entitled to know all the facts of their medical conditions. That's just not your business at work. It's just not. And as women, we just get asked the silliest things, and we have the silliest things said to us. I have had, literally, I've been sitting there in a business meeting, very in this exact same tone, disagreed with someone about something, and he looks at me and says, "Oh, you're just hormonal."
Wow. Yeah.
And everything inside of me wanted to fly across that table, but that would have just proved him right. So I just sat there and I said, "No, you're just incompetent." That was kind of my retort. I don't necessarily recommend that for everybody. I have kind of a different kind of take on everything, and I've never been afraid to lose a job. But if you're going to say something like that, you have to be prepared to lose your job. But you do need to stand up, right? So in any situation, and I think women, we have this really cool ability to just kind of always see what needs to be fixed and to just step in and do it. That's one of the things I love about ladies is we'll just step in and just do it. You're like, okay, this just needs to be done. I'm just going to do it. I don't need to ask 50 people. I don't need to have a meeting about it. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to step in and get it done. Get out of my way. Let me do it.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and I think that can just really be a blessing in the workplace. It could be something that is our strength and our ability to strive and our ability to grow and help a company grow. So if you have a woman who is ready to scale up in her career and ready to get to that next level, how do you coach them to prepare themselves and to present themselves to their company and or to potential employers, and how to best articulate their abilities?
So I don't really get the women that I work with. I don't really get the question of how to scale up in their business or in their company so much, because they are already putting all the energy and effort into that.
Right.
It's really where the personal life where they struggle with, because all the energy is going over to the to the
So you find the opposite, so that women are putting all their energy in
all
one
the
and not in the
absolutely,
other. And I hear
absolutely,
that a lot, that women feel like they have to choose
they
between
have to choose.
career and
Absolutely,
home. Yeah. And
yes.
and you don't. I just want to put that out there.
We
You
don't have to choose. No, no, don't
you
have to
don't know.
choose. And
And you can
and, we, and people tend to to tell women that you choose to put to your education and your career and all this stuff on the front end, and let your personal life suffer. And you don't have to do that,
no.
right? You have to prioritize your life. This is important, but it comes with all communication, of communicating with your spouse if you're married, communicating even with the kids and saying, hey, if I'm working toward a goal in my business or a promotion in your career, whatever the case may be, is making sure that everyone is on the same page and making sure that they
Mhm.
understand that I may be putting more time in to achieve these goals, but this is the time that I'm setting aside to be with you guys, to
Right.
do what I need to do in my home. And so it all starts with communication.
And
And I love
scheduling.
building. I build absolutely. And so I'm just like you. I build with my husband. Everything that we have, we've done together. And I know that may not be the case for everyone, but for the ones that are like us, you're building with your spouse, and it's just a lot of communication, and sometimes it's over
Mhm.
communicating, right? To make sure
Oh
that we're on
yes.
the page, right? Make sure we're on the same page, making sure the kids understand. I just think it works all together when you are communicating, what it looked like,
Right.
the overall, the goal, the action steps, what it's going to take to do that. And then now we can go celebrate and do whatever we need to do because, hey, mom and dad reached that goal, or the kids, or whatever. It's just communication.
Right. 100%. I get really um I get really frustrated sometimes because I hear a lot of people talk about, oh, you just go to work and you do it and you leave. And I always let people know, no, that's really not right. You're a holistic being. So everywhere that you are, everything that you're a part of is affecting you. So if you have charity work, that's somewhere in the back of your mind. If have kids, they're somewhere on your mind, whether it's in the back or the front. If you have, a great career, then you are, that's always somewhere in your mind. So you're a holistic being.
Hmm.
So even if you're at work, the things that are at home will affect you. And so one thing I
Absolutely.
always encourage leaders to do is to remember that, and to, if somebody has something going on, to actively work with them to set them up for success, even though they have this craziness going on over here. For instance, if somebody has a death in the immediate family, maybe they have to go deal with estate planning. They have to plan a funeral. They have to go to the funeral. They have to grieve themselves. Then they have to help the
Right.
family grieve. And depending on your role in the family, it can actually be very cumbersome to deal with the death.
Absolutely.
It's not just the sadness, it is a pain. It really
Absolutely.
is. And and so as a leader, you want to help plan around that and go, okay, 3 days of bereavement. Okay, that's just not real life. Okay, let's just put that right on out there. 3 days of bereavement is maybe like you just had to go to your aunt's funeral and then come right back and you didn't really know her, and that's kind of it. Otherwise, that's just really not sufficient. It's just not.
Hmm.
So work with your people. Maybe you can give them a flex schedule for a while. Maybe you can let them work from home. Maybe you can have somebody else manage their projects for a few days so that they can handle their business. And I want to say too that employees, this is on you as well, ladies, gentlemen, either direction. Um, you need to step up and plan with your employer too, and say, okay, I have to meet with the funeral home from this time to this time, but then I can handle this and this for just a little bit, but then I need to be with the family too. Just kind of coordinate with them, figure out, who can help you out, and then what you actually need to be doing, or if you can just, afford to take full time off at that point. Just kind of coordinate. It's
Absolutely.
really simple. People miss that step. Like you said, communicate,
Mm-hmm.
communicate.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Over communication is always the key to success in
Mm-hmm.
my experience. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I want to ask you too. So we've kind of talked about, we kind of skimmed over, some of the nonsense that women have said to them, but I want to talk about some of the benefits that also tie into their personal life as well for women. So women, as they climb in business, we kind of have sometimes unique, health issues such as pregnancy or things associated therein. What are some of your ideas for benefits that might help women, specifically mothers, in the workplace? Would something like a nursing room be helpful?
Absolutely.
Would something like on-site daycare be helpful? Can you kind of talk to us a little bit about some of those things and why?
I do think that it would help for companies to put a room in for mothers that are. I nursed my children. My last one. That's one of the things that I asked when I was working at the time when I was pregnant with him, and the company actually made a room for me. And so I thought that was nice. I think that companies should have that room for mothers that are nursing. I do think that companies should have something in place for work employees when they lose someone in their family, a parent or something. I just lost my mother 2020, and it's hard. It's not just, oh, when it happened, but there's
Mm-hmm.
going to be many, many months that that your employees need to take a break. They may just have a moment because grief
Right.
hits you at any time of the day, and it's just
Yes,
hard.
it does.
Even if we just had just a room and say, hey, take a 10-minute break, just step away,
Yeah.
even
I
provide
like the
some
mental health.
counseling,
Yeah, the
mental health,
counseling. Yep.
yeah, the counseling, have something in place, grief
Mhm.
counseling, because we're all going through, things. Everyone, it doesn't matter who you are. I think 2020 has been a lot. 2021 is about the same.
It's been kind of extra, right? It has been so extra.
So
Like,
it's
what?
kind of like, okay, new normal, but I think
Oh,
everyone is adjusting much as possible. A lot of loved ones have gone on, but to have something in place, to just think that people are just going to bounce back and just step right back into how things were is no longer.
actually, I
Even for our
just did a lot of study on this, and I read, psychological research. I read interviews. I called people myself and had conversations, and in fact, ended up having an in-person conversation today with a woman who, after 14 months, thanks to COVID, just
kids.
got another job. And just like so many other people, she started crying for joy, but also panic. And what's
Mm,
happened is, essentially, to kind of summarize everything that I've kind of learned, is that people seem to be having a trauma response to everything
mm,
that's happened. And that may sound ridiculous, but think about what it's like to be unemployed and or constantly have your job threatened and having to pick up the work from everybody else that was furloughed. The political stress,
mm-hmm,
the COVID thing going on. I mean, in and of itself, just
mm-hmm,
all the different mandates constantly changing. Maybe you got it, maybe someone got it.
mm-hmm.
Everything has just been pandemonium.
Right.
And people are literally having a stress response. And so, one thing that I've really been trying to encourage, and that a lot of wonderful humans that I work with and that are colleagues have also been trying to encourage, is the idea to have mental health resources, especially right now, available to your people. And there are wonderful, wonderful resources that are not expensive for companies, where somebody can, call a counselor real quick, or you can just have somebody on site once or twice a week. And it's a really, really incredible benefit to give to people, and something that people, to your point, right now especially need, but also periodically throughout their life will need.
Mm-hmm.
So have that available, have that benefit available, because again, holistic beings. So if this or this is hurting, everything else is just going to go crazy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and I think it really shows the people that you care. We're not just a
Yeah.
number when you're working for a company. You're not just someone, hey, get the job done to build the company, but really showing that you care about the individuals. And I think it will help them stay on the job longer, make it a long-term position
Yes.
for them. They want to stick with the company, help the company grow when you show that you really care for them, just out, not
Yes.
just when they're there, but just about them in
In
general.
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 Yes, I have the best work experience I ever had was a company, and there were many reasons I liked it, but one of the main reasons is that when I went through some craziness in my life, my boss texted me and would go, "Hey, how are you doing?" And not when are you going to do this or that for work or what's going on with that, but just, "Hey, how you doing? What's
Absolutely.
going on with you? How is this going?"
Mhm.
And it really meant a lot. And it wasn't an overly long situation, but it was nice to know that they just cared as people.
Mhm.
And that will attach your people to you. That will help you with retention. That will help people grow. And
Mhm.
I think for women as well, when it comes to giving birth. So a lot of people, even women included, I've come to realize, don't realize how much you change
Mm.
physically, emotionally, and mentally when you have a baby. And
Abs-
one of the one of the issues that comes up a lot and that I hear a lot is, you know, is a woman going to come back from giving birth? So I want to play devil's advocate here and just say that I understand why companies have this fear, because it is actually extremely common, although I have a lot of trouble finding exact numbers on this. It is extremely common that women don't come back. In my personal experience, I have numbers on this and they're staggering. It's over half have not, when you accumulate mine and also the numbers my husband has experienced in his career, over half
mm.
have not come back, and then slightly over half, but that's a lot. And so, and it's okay. And I want to throw this out there, ladies, I'm not mad at you. Motherhood is a beautiful thing, and
Yes.
I am all for staying at home and raising those babies, and then you can come back to work or don't whenever you feel like it. Motherhood is a job, it is an important job. Rock on. Just want to throw that out there real quick.
Mhm.
But it is a real concern for
Mhm.
companies. So I always tell people, communicate. That's that key word that you said. Communicate with your employer as much as possible. But then there also has to be a human understanding that once the baby is there and the mother is bonding, and then finances are reworked, because that's a real thing,
Right.
that maybe coming back to work isn't the best solution anymore.
Mhm.
It
Yeah, and some
happens.
ladies can't go
So
back
what are
because
some
of the
ideas? Yep. Yeah. No,
health
go ahead.
reasons.
Go ahead. What were you saying?
I know after I had my last one, he's 3 now, I wasn't able to return back to the company for health reasons. And so, like you stated a few minutes ago, that your body changes, and sometimes there's health reasons why the doctor doesn't get back, because it's very dangerous when you do have a baby, especially if it's a
Yes.
C-section. So I do think that
Oh gosh,
sometimes
yes.
um,
Yeah.
right. So some companies, I know with this pandemic, a lot of companies start doing the work from home. A lot of companies were already doing it, which is amazing. But just to
Yes.
be able to provide that option for them, even nice to say, hey, if you're not able, maybe we can make a work from home, a remote position for you. That's always nice
Yes.
because maybe she can't come back after 6 weeks until she's better, maybe 3 months, but then she can transition back. And then, hey, she may do better if she's home. Who knows? Some people do
Yep.
better
Who
if they're at
knows?
home. They can focus on their work. They don't have the disrupting, in the office. Sometimes you get off task because someone comes in the office and, just throws you off.
It's
But
true.
she may be good working from home and she's been able
It's
to take care
true.
of her baby. So, hey, I
That's
think it,
right.
it, it may be a win-win. We never know unless we
I
try.
completely agree with you 100%. And by the way, I think that for dads too. I want to put that out there. My dad was
Absolutely.
my stay-at-home parent, and he was
Mhm,
phenomenal. And
mhm.
why not? I mean, whoever it is, just work
Whoever.
with them. Just work with them. Um, Also, if you have an employee, which this is a bad situation. I've been in the position of having to work with somebody in this case whose child is extremely ill. Um, or I'm going to start with this one. If a woman experiences infant loss,
Mm-hmm.
don't ask her when she's coming back to work right off the bat, please. Do not do that.
Mm-hmm.
This, even if that child was just born or stillborn or miscarried or whatever the situation is, that
Mm-hmm.
woman has just lost a child, or that father has just lost a child.
Right.
Hold your horses and act accordingly, and
Mm-hmm.
give them space, give them time to grieve, give them those same resources we discussed earlier, those same options, and maybe give them a chance to work from home for a little bit. Because let me tell you, when you go through something like that, coming back to work and having 50,000 questions asked of you and 50,000 people telling you how sorry they are is not something that you're ready for right away.
Absolutely.
That's not a thing. And
Absolutely.
and if their child is sick, give them those work from home options. Be flexible with them. Just because that's going on doesn't mean that they're now an incompetent or useless worker. Work with them, be flexible, be a human being, and you'll be surprised the loyalty and the wonderful return that you have. That's my
Absolutely.
opinion, at least.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think.
Yes,
Work with people.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, I feel like the more we humanize people in the workplace and stop treating people like commodities or like tools, the further we'll get. The
Mm-hmm.
more autonomy that you give people, the more power that you give and authority that you give people in their own positions for their own workload and their own position, the more that you empower them, the more successful they'll be, man or woman. I mean, we're kind of talking about women today, but it works either direction,
It
right?
does.
And it should
Absolutely.
be common sense.
Yeah.
Somehow it's not.
Nah. Not always.
I don't know why. I really don't. I don't get that. Some of these things should just be so obvious. I'm gonna start having a segment called that. I think I'm just gonna start having it's so obvious segment. You know, just put it
Sounds
out
good.
there.
Like this. The next
So I
one
wanted,
will be.
there you go. You know, and it really, because some of the stuff is just so basic. It really is like really, employers, I shouldn't have to tell you this. Come on. And then, oh, and here's a fun one too for you. I nearly forgot to bring this up with you, and I was so excited to bring it up with you. So I've had a lot of questions asked of me recently surrounding dress code
Okay.
at work. Okay. And okay, so here's my attitude, right? Do you meet the legal requirements for being dressed? I mean, that's kind of me. Like, I just don't care. That's just me personally. Um, but I'm all for getting dressed up and being fancy sometimes and going to conventions and meetings. And I have good sense of propriety and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people, I've had women bring up that they don't like the bras are required. Okay. Hairstyles,
Mm-hmm.
that being brought up. Um, so I'm just kind of curious what your thoughts are on women and dress codes.
And dress code. Um, I, for me, when it comes to dress code, it can get a little sticky, because every woman is shaped different, and something you probably can wear, I can't, because
And vice versa.
right. So I just think that if you set the rules, that it should go across the board for everyone, with dress code. When it comes to hairstyles, let people be, who they are. To say that they can't wear a certain hairstyle, come on, let's get over it. let's just get over it. Let people be who they
Yeah.
are and show up how they desire to show up and be truly who they are. We all are not going to look alike. Don't try to make us. Let us be
Nope.
authentic self. If I choose to come in with my hair curly, because any day it would be curly as soon as I walk outside, or if I, want it red or whatever the color may be,
Yep. Who
people
cares?
themselves, and as long as they get the job done,
Yeah.
don't try to think that if someone look a certain way and judge them that they're not good for the job. That's not true.
Right.
Yeah.
And down to tattoos. I mean, I just watched an interesting poll kind of come to fruition, and 13,000, almost 13,000 people voted on this poll on LinkedIn, and it was about tattoos in the workplace, and it addressed, I have tattoos and would hire tattoos. I do not have tattoos and would hire. And it kind of went through all the different groups of people, and the conclusion was that over 70% of people absolutely did not care about tattoos, and that another 10% or so cared about it. Like, as long as it's not on your face, basically, that you're good. And so the overwhelming majority of people could not possibly care less about tattoos at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and because it's becoming a social norm, right? It is. And so to me, I mean, you don't want a vulgar tattoo somewhere where it's visible, So, be that, I feel like that's, acceptable, an acceptable line. But just, like you said, just let people be themselves, because who cares if somebody is clean cut, not clean cut, but clean, physically clean, like not smelly, and has, and is, covered and everything, and is at least, and is presentable and professional. That's the end of it. And when I say
Mm-hmm.
professional, I just mean you obviously are trying to look like a business professional. Doesn't mean that you meet everybody's exact stereotype for that or anything like that. In fact, I have a girlfriend who likes to wear these cute, crazy, like 50s style pinup outfits everywhere that she goes, and I love them. And
Mm-hmm.
she looks like a woman from the 50s, but she looks so professional and so together. And I love it. But some people are like, oh no, that's out of dress code. That's not right. I'm going, why? Why? That's her
Mm-hmm.
style. That's who she is. Who cares? You
Mm-hmm.
know? I don't get it.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Yeah. Yeah. People
Mm-mm.
always gonna, judge and stereotype, whatever. I'm all for, if the person can get the job done, I'm all for love and showing
Yep.
love, and I don't want anyone to judge me based off my appearance or anything like that. Judge me on whatever it is
Yes.
supposed to do.
Because that's all that matters. That's all
Hmm.
at work, That's what matters. That's
Hmm.
it. So I want
Absolutely.
to I want to touch on one other kind of sensitive subject, and then I have a bunch of awesome, like, positive things to ask you, I promise.
Okay.
But this weird thing that some of it's been going on for a while, like for just years and years, and then some of it's kind of newer to some as an issue, is that there is this phenomenon, and there's several studies that you can read up, including in Psychology Today and a few others, that talk about how people, men and women, but especially men, feel comfortable touching women, whereas they don't touch men so much. So women get touched way more than men do physically. And now there's, of course, a big movement to go, nope, 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 nope. Respect my space. Respect my space. And a lot of people, it's habit. It's a habit to, touch a woman on the small of a back as you go behind her, or to, maybe hug her where you don't hug a man, or touch their hair. That's what they, and touch the pregnant belly. Why do people touch pregnant bellies? I don't understand that. That's so inappropriate to me. But I
Mm-hmm.
just watched that happen at a business function today. I literally did. I watched somebody in a professional function walk up and touch a pregnant woman's belly.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going, why? Why would you do that? So my
Right.
question for you is, how do you think, or what, excuse me, what do you think is the appropriate way to get, or the best way to get this to stop? Should companies be in charge of that? Should women set their own boundaries? What are your thoughts on that?
I think we set our own boundaries. Um,
Mhm.
we all know, some people don't have a bubble. Some do, some don't. Some are larger than others. But I just believe that you set your own boundaries. You go in when you go
Mhm.
into a relationship with the people that you work with, or even the people in your home. You set the boundaries for them. And just for example, when a woman is pregnant, it is a kind of a natural thing that people have, that they want to touch your belly, not thinking like, hey, the baby's not here, because we reach and touch a baby. I
Yeah.
hope not as much as we used to. But I think it's just a natural
Yeah, not
response.
during COVID.
No, no, don't touch my baby. Don't touch my. But as when you're pregnant, like you just have to say, hey, I don't like that, or just take a step back if someone is going to approach you in that way. I don't like it. I did have certain people that I would let touch my belly, but you ask to touch someone because that's her stomach,
Right.
right? That's private. That's her personal.
Yes.
So you ask someone, can you? But to just randomly, touch people inappropriate. I mean, we see it all the time. I think as women we have to be careful because if you like me, I have I don't have a really much of a bubble, and so I am a touchy person. Like if I'm talking to somebody, I may touch their shoulder or whatever. I'm just
Right.
may laugh or whatever. But you have to be mindful that everyone is not that way, or it may be a little bit inappropriate.
Right.
To do that. And so I'm not sure if that is something that a job's supposed to stop. I think that's an individual thing that we have to set those boundaries.
I mean, obviously a job has to make sure that no like harassment or if or assault is happening. Obviously you have to maintain the safety of your employees. But yes, in terms of general boundaries, I'm glad that you made that point because you do need to set your own boundaries, whatever they are. Whatever your boundaries are, set those, including what you do and do not want to talk about at work. That is perfectly acceptable. For instance, I know women that love to talk about their kids at work. I know women that absolutely do not want to talk about their kids at work. They just do not for their own personal reasons. Maybe you do want to talk about your dating life. Maybe you don't. That is up to you. At work, they are only entitled to what they need to get the job done.
Absolutely.
That's it. Don't need to know anything else about you. That's all that they are entitled to. So, like you said, just set your own boundaries. So, as women are climbing and they're, asking for these benefits and, making sure that they're balancing that wonderful home and business life and all of that, and then they start to get to that really high level, right? Because once you start getting into executive, past management into executive, it's a whole other world, right? And a lot of women, I think, feel like their identity changes because I've heard a lot of women saying this, that they feel like their identity changes as they kind of get to that point. It's like, oh, well, now this is how I define myself or this. Do you think that for women that there is, how do I say this? I had the word, I swear to you, just a minute ago. See, this is what I was talking about. At the end of the day, my brain has just gone click. Don't want to be on anymore. Do not want. Just stop working. But okay, so I got it now. So do you? So as women are climbing and they're going through all this and the labels are changing. Do you encourage women to embrace different labels or to just dispel them and get rid of them?
No, I advise women to embrace their feminine energy and allow it to work for them, even in the workplace as well as personal life. I know that women, as we work the ladder up, in our career and those high positions, we tend to think that we have to use masculine energy, which we carry both, right? We're made of man and woman.
Right.
And we tend to think that we should lay aside the feminine energy to get the job done. But your feminine energy can work for you if it's used the proper way. Right. You don't have to go in and talk like a man, move like a man, and to just feel like, hey, this is how I get it done. No. Use your feminine energy. That is what was given to us. That's who we are, and we walk in who we are, who we truly are, and things will show up for us. What we desire, the positions, the roles, everything, the increase, the abundance, everything will show up for you when you're in alignment and you really show up who you are. Don't try to be anyone else. Be yourself in your career. Just be yourself.
Yes. Oh, and I do want to specify just real quick because I mentioned this on a previous episode, so I just want to reiterate this real quick. Being authentic to yourself and being true to yourself is never an excuse to be a jerk.
Right.
Ladies, this can apply to you too. You can be authentic and true to yourself and still be courteous and respectful at all times. It does not diminish your message. In fact, it actually increases it because you literally turn your audience off mentally. Your brain, their brains will go click, don't want to listen to this anymore, and just shut you down. So instead, be productive, be receptive, listen, and when you speak, be educational, but not confrontational. Just wanted to throw that out there real quick. But
Yeah.
as you're talking about this, about using your feminine energy, I want to kind of embrace that, because I feel like that, to your point, that's something that a lot of women feel either shamed into not doing or embarrassed into not doing. But to me, that's been part of the biggest thing that's helped me to grow professionally, is everything that I have because of my feminine side of my energy. So give us some tips, if you could, on learning to kind of reprogram that thought process of I shouldn't do that, into just latching onto it and running.
Um, I would remind women that, with your feminine energy, think about when you enter a room. And we all can think of a woman maybe that we maybe attend meetings or whatever, and she's very feminine, very gorgeous, but she's very powerful. Your feminine energy is powerful, and it will attract people just by the way you enter the room. You can set the atmosphere with your energy, but also when you leave the room. What do you want people to say when you leave the room? Not always, when you're in the room and you're doing a great job and they're clapping and they heard you, but just when you leave the room, what impact do you want to leave with the people that you just left the room with? And so I say use your feminine energy,
Right.
be yourself, relax. You may not speak like someone else, you may not look like someone else, but embrace who you are, and whatever it is that you need to change, desire to change it along the way, but be
Yeah.
yourself. People appreciate that, and they remember you, and they want to be around you more. They want to hear what you have
Yes.
to say, because you show up being who you truly are. And so that's, I always tell a woman, however you want to show up, whether that's in the
Mhm.
meeting, whether that's in your home, show up as yourself, and to just remember that it will get the job done. It always,
Yeah.
it will work for you, not against you. And don't just because someone else may be in the office, if you work for someone, they may be in the office, and they, we've seen ladies, like, they use all their masculine energy, like it's like, oh my gosh, you it's almost like, oh, I gotta see you again, you know but then you might go, meet them for brunch or something, and they're a totally different person. That always
Yep.
throw me off. It's like, wait a minute, like, you're really nice
Who's
outside the
this?
office. Like, where did this come from? No, no, no. You don't have to separate the two. Be
No.
be who you are, so that people can appreciate really who you are, and they will understand, like, on the job, if you have to give them some type of news or a job to do, they can appreciate that, because you are really showing up as one person, not two. In the relationship,
100%.
100. Yeah, yeah. Always be
Yes,
one.
100. And I have I have a good friend, Veronica Kolobob, in my local area here, and she's one of the best embodiments of what you're talking about right now, because she is so proud of her femininity, and she is just so good at just being herself and out there, and she's fantastic because she's loud and she's interesting and she's funny and she's bold, and she just is who she is, and whatever is going to come out of her mouth is going to come out of her mouth. And I mean, it's never rude or anything like that, but she's just going to say, all kinds of interesting things. She
Right.
walks up and greets everyone like they matter. You know what I mean? When you're around her, you feel like you're just in a bright light, and she just embodies, embodies enthusiasm and walks around. And to your point, when she walks into a room, everyone feels it. You just feel the energy shift when she walks in. And
Absolutely.
it's because she's comfortable in her own skin, and she embraces who she is. And she's excited not only about who she is, but about learning who you are, and just seeing how all of that fits together.
Hmm.
And that really, and I want to say that that's a huge part of success too in anything, whether it's personal or professional, is don't make everything about you. You know,
Absolutely.
how can I help this other person? How can I contribute to the world around me and the people around me? When you focus on that, when you don't make it selfish, you go so much further, so much further. And this
Yeah, I would say.
remarkable community of women around me is has shown me that so very much. I mean, they're just absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And showing that in every single step. So shout out to all my ladies here in the Treasure Coast. Love you all very much. Um, but and it's kind of the last thing I want to ask you about because, by the way, I just want to throw this on out there. You look fabulous.
Thank
You are so wonderfully put together. I love your outfit today. And the last time I talked to you, you look fabulous as well. You even match you kind of go with your background. You've color coordinated with your background, which I
you.
have deep respect for. So I mean, we've had fashion experts and all on the show before, but I like to hear from the women that are out there, living life and being professional and doing all kinds of different things in their life. How do you use fashion to further your goals and your purpose and to help you feel comfortable and authentic all at the same time?
Well, I do. I like fashion. I am actually a jewelry person, and I love purses. Actually, more. I'm not a big shoe person. But I use it to express myself because I do believe that when we look good, we feel good, but it starts in the inside. And so just what you see on the outside is who I truly am in the inside. But just as much energy and effort that I put on the outside to look good, I put just as much energy every morning and night on the inside so that it express on the outside. And so anyone that know me, that have been around me, they can tell you that is exactly how I am. And so I use fashion. I am getting more into colors and whites. I never really been to wear white. And so I am saying, hey, let's just go for it. Let's try something new. Fashion is always changing. And so we have to learn to change with it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Try something new.
Yeah.
If you're not having a good morning, guess what? Change your outfit, put on something that's bright, so that it's like,
Yes.
hey, it changes your mood, right? I am. My
Mm-hmm.
kids would tell you, my husband, I am the person. I change our home, my office. I change it once a month. I rearrange
I do
furniture in my
that
house. That is me. That's always been me, right? So I do that because I am shifting the energy and the
too.
atmosphere in my
Mm-hmm.
home. I may want to sit in a different spot for for a few weeks or whatever. And so you're in control of your atmosphere and your environment.
Yeah.
And so I just believe that whatever you need to do to get through the day, to get through whatever's going on in your life, learn to change with it.
Yes. 100%. I love that you're ending on that, on the change with it. Just roll with it. If you
Run with
have
it.
a plan and something new comes up, go, okay, and just kind of keep on going. And believe me, I'm a type A, plan everything out personality. And I still love to go roll with the punches. If life comes
Um,
at me and hits me hard, I go, okay, let's do it. And just figure it out from there. And
yes.
and I'm all about changing your environment and sometimes like you said, just if I'm bogged down and I am trying real hard not to have to get out of bed because I really don't feel like it, but I have to get to a networking event or convention, I dress nice, I put on the right music, I get my mind
Right.
right. I just focus. I might actually put on makeup, which I hardly ever do, just just to wake myself up and help myself get that extra little pep in my step. And I think that that's okay. And I think that that's a really fresh and easy way to just kind of get that little jump start to your day. And so as we're wrapping up, I want to thank you so very much, first of all, for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure having you.
Thank you. Thank you for
I
having me.
I, I want to tell everybody how to find you. So first of all, I did drop your LinkedIn link into the comments. However, that's only showing up on certain venues for some reason, not really sure why. So if you could just tell everybody here how to find you and a little bit more about your services, that would
Okay.
be great.
Okay, well, you can find me on LinkedIn if you see it in the comment section under Audra Richardson. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook under Audra Richardson. Also have an Instagram page and a Facebook group that's Lovingly Like a Queen. I'm actually having we just released it today, having a 5-day pillow talk challenge.
Ooh.
Couples, you want to join this lady. This is going to be fun. It's going to be spicy. We're getting ready to get back.
Oh, I'm
We've been
intrigued
having
now.
this saying, we've been having this saying, it's hot girl summer. You've been hearing people saying this on Instagram places, but guess what? We're going to work on this pillow talk challenge in our home, in our relationship. So it's going to be fun. It's
Love
going to
it.
August, after the 5-day challenge, we are going to have a coffee, ladies chat over coffee debrief on that Saturday morning. We're going to have some feedback, and we're going to talk about the experience that you had during the Pillow Talk challenge. And so I'm just excited
How
to
fun.
be joining many, many women in this challenge. I'm excited to see the ladies that's gonna join in with this challenge. But you can also find me there. My services again. I help women lovingly like a queen. I help them replace their boss hats with the crown. So if you are interested, you can click the link in any of my bio. You can schedule a call with me. And I look forward to meeting you and talking to you and seeing how I can help you lovingly like a queen.
I love that. And I will give you a real quick testimonial. This woman brings my
Okay.
blood pressure way down.
Okay.
And that is hard to do. I actually don't have high blood pressure, but she calms me down is the point, and keeps me just relaxed and breathing, gives you food for thought whenever you speak to her. And I've had the privilege to speak to her now a couple of times. So I highly, highly recommend reaching out to Audra, ladies. She would be a wonderful resource. This Pillow Talk camp sounds awesome. I love that. Please send me some information on that, Audra. I'm gonna
Yes.
promote it. I'm gonna promote it for you. But definitely, folks, definitely check Audra out. Connect with both of us on LinkedIn. We would both absolutely love to talk to you, answer any questions that you may have. And please join me next week, because I am going to have a very cool guest on. We're going to get down and dirty, get nitty gritty about all the nonsense in the workplace, and we are going to solve some problems. So come check us out. Thank you again so very, very much for joining us today, Audra. See you next week, same time, same place.
Bye.